Hello everyone, welcome to our learning series of how to use Unreal Engine for architectural visualization. In this video, we're going to continue on the widget slide design subject. So from our last video, we have created the interactive Arch-viz mini map. In this video, we're going to continue on creating additional tools that can be used also during the walkthrough interactive. So let's start. So I'm going to start by creating some of the tools that can be used on the left side, which some of them, for example, gonna be the canopy option that's gonna be connected through the variant manager blueprints, and also the materials on this wall. So to have a better presentation of this, let's drag one of the images that we have, which we have here. I'm gonna put it inside the interface, and I'm gonna keep it on the left side and have the anchor on full size of the left side, and maybe increase the width of this a little bit, and also decrease the opacity a little bit, let's say for example 0.70. Okay, then I'm gonna create some of the buttons that are gonna be used here. So let's write here button and drag it here on the interface. Let's give it a simple scale. Let's say for example a bit on the width here, maybe 140 by a height of 20 for example, or maybe just 28. This is our canvas here. Maybe we'll increase a little bit, like 82. Let's put it over here, and then let's name this for example our mini map. So when we press on this, it should bring our mini map into the interface, because we don't want our mini map to be visible when we start the walkthrough widget. So I'm gonna add the text also. So put it here, and then write down maybe mini map. Okay, and I'm gonna just minimize the size of the text, let's say 70, and over here, and change the color maybe to a darker gray color. Okay, this should do it. So we need to drag the text to be assigned to the button, so it will follow the button when we do a little bit of animation. Let's copy this, paste, and let's find the X alignment. Let's put it here. Maybe just drag it a little bit on top and press shift so we don't to snap it on the grid point. So I'm gonna write, let's name this for example our canopy options. And maybe minimize the text size a little bit, something around 13, and maybe we can just match this a little bit, let's say 50. Okay, is this a little bit acceptable? Okay, let's make sure that we name the button also, so it will not be confusing for us when we start creating the mini map. When we start creating our blueprint for these buttons, and this canopy options button. Okay, so we have our mini map button, the canopy options, and we need also another button for the wall. So I'm gonna copy this again and paste it and give it the same alignment, and change this for example to be wall material button, and for the text also, wall material. Okay, so now we have the widget composed of the minimap on the right side, on the left side this slide that we're gonna need to add also the additional options for the canopy and for the wall materials. For this also we're gonna use a button also and just add a map to it, an image. So for the canopy I'm just gonna increase the size a little bit on the Y and decrease it on the X, let's say for example around this. We just need to have enough room for the other items that we're gonna add later on. Okay, so this should be enough here. Let's name this for example as option 1. Let's define it more as canopy option 01. And I guess I have just imported some of the images here which are define the canopy shapes. So I'm gonna just write it canopy. Sorry, let's make sure the name canopy option 1. Okay, this is option 1, and let's assign the same image for the interaction when the button when the mouse gets hover over the button. So I'm gonna copy this and let's make it by the mouse, which we don't get lose the scale. So I'm gonna name this as option 2, and let's bring our canopy option 2 and do the same also for the breast and the hover. Okay, so the last one, copy, paste, and let's name this as option 3. Okay, so let's just push it a little bit here. Okay, last is the wall option material. I'm just gonna drag it here, and I also created just an image for that. I'm gonna also attach this on a link for you to download. So this is called wall paint button, and let's call it in the image. What was the name? Wall dash paint. Okay, so this is gonna be the paint option. I guess that's okay for you. And let's copy and paste this, align it on the same area here. Let's give this the stone, and don't forget to change the name of the button. So this is gonna be stone, and assign the same image for the breast and the hover. Alright, so now that we have as a start these additional buttons, let's see how this is gonna look like when we start our interactive widget. So I'm gonna hit play, and through the walkthrough I guess we can see our mini map and the buttons on the left side, and then a bit of interactive. Maybe just we can darken these images of the buttons, so just to have a little bit of interaction, so it will not look like that. So I'm just gonna darken each one of them. Okay. And also for the stone and the wall buttons. Okay. Alright, so let's give it a last test and see how this is gonna look like. So yeah, I guess maybe this image the paint just needs a little bit fix. But let's focus now on the blueprints. So now that we have created our buttons, we need to assign a blueprint for them to be active. Then we can see how we can animate this. So to start, we're gonna start with the variant manager, which we created earlier in a video that shows how to create the variant manager option for the canopy and also for the wall, where we can change also the material. If you did not see this video, I will make sure to give you the link in the description, so to have a look at it. For now, let's create the blueprints for that. So I'm gonna click on the canopy option, and let's go on the event construct, and we're gonna create from the event construct sequence, and the next one will be the one for the variant manager. So I'm get all actors of class, and then assign our level variant set actor. Then we're gonna get a copy from this one, promote this to a variable so we can use it later on, and name this, for example, variant options. Alright, let's connect this to the all axis of actors and give this a little bit of space. Okay, and then we're gonna drag from this switch variant by name, and we have here our buttons. Sorry about that, I'm the designer, my mistake. So our first button is option 1. So we're gonna hover over the events and click on the clicked and assign this to our switch on by variant name, and we don't need the variable to be connected to the switcher node. So let's make another 2 from this one, and then name the variants according to their object name. So also for button 2, I'm gonna connect this, and for button 3, okay, so connect also variable, and let's get back to our variant manager to confirm about the names of the variants. So here we need to write the variant set name, which we can find it here. It's the canopy. So if I right click and copy and paste it on each one of them, and for the variants we have option 01. Sorry, this is gonna be 2, and this is gonna be 3. Okay, now we can compile. Let's see if this is gonna work. Okay, this a little bit, and now if we hit on top of each one of them, we can see that the canopy now is being changed. We did a video before showing how to do this, but let's take this as a small revision just to give you an idea of how this can work also inside this widget. Okay, so now we need also to create another variant set for the wall options. So let's do the same thing for the wall material option. So I'm gonna drag also from the set on our variant, switch variant by name, and duplicate this, and also connect this. Let's bring it over here, connect it to the target. We don't need to connect it here, so we need just to review. So we had this button making a little bit of funny effect, so I'm just gonna go back and assign same image, maybe. Okay, and so for the breast, so we have this one, which is the paint button and the stone button. So for our paint, let's check the variant also. We have the wall, stone, and the paint. So the stone is actually capital S. So I'm gonna write this as wall, and it's gonna be a capital S. Let's bring the stone button and connect it here to the node. And for the paint, let's also drag it here and connect it here, wall, and this is gonna be paint. And let's compile and see. So if we play now, okay, so we have our stone and our paint wall, and also for the canopy, our different option. You can also increase the numbers of the options that you can create for your project. For now, we have this just as a demonstration. Okay, so for our next thing we're gonna need to do is, we don't need actually the presentation start with the widget or the buttons and all the items that we have in our presentation visible. We need them to be hidden, and then we need to activate their appearance by a button where they can come. For example, let's say that this is the main thing that we want to appear first. Then once we click on the canopy options, our options will appear, and also for the wall materials. So let's start first by creating our basic animation interface for this one. Okay, so let's go to our widget, the walkthrough widget, and let's go to the designer. So here where we can start setting up how we can animate this. We need to set up the basic keyframes for each one of them. So our plan here is to have our interface start with this left side panel without these buttons. Maybe we're gonna add just a small button here when we can hide it. So let's drag a button over here. Let's make it small as much as possible. Let's say 80 by 25, maybe a little bit smaller. And let's add also a text for this, and give it a size of 12, and name this as height. Okay, and I'll darken this one. So this button basic function is when the menu start, when the interaction start, we want to have it as a way to hide all of these widgets when they appear. Okay, so let's create an animation first. Let's name this basic menu animation. Alright, so we need to set up our keyframe for each item of this. So for this one, and the buttons, and let's put these on, let's see if we're gonna push them minus 400, for example. Yeah, that's gonna be enough. And set up a keyframe here, and let's drag our time slider over here, but let's select these buttons, because we want only this menu to appear once the presentation start. And let's set a keyframe also here. So okay, for our minimap, we want our minimap also to have a keyframe at outside the canvas. So I'm gonna also set up this and 800, for example, but that's the map only. I need also the base, so I'm gonna and add a keyframe here. Okay, so the only thing that's gonna be animated is the left side menu, where we're gonna also assign a play animation button for this one. Okay, so inside our graph, let's arrange this a little bit. So I'm gonna call this variant options, and let's drag this a little bit up. And for this one, we're gonna event tick. We need to assign a node that will be defined by a button, that when we hit this button, the slide will come. So as usual, I'm gonna drag a sequence node, and the second one that I'm gonna drag from the second sequence will start with a branch and play animation. We want our animation to start, and this is gonna be inside here. We have our basic animation when we're gonna drag it over here, and we want this to play forward, but we need to assign a button from this one. So we're gonna get player controller, and when, let's say for example, this pressed was input key just pressed, this not connect this to our condition, and let's say for example the spacebar button, because I don't want to assign the right mouse key, because basically we are using this to move inside our interactive widget. Okay, so let's see how this is gonna go. So compile and hit play and see. Okay, it has started actually with the widget appearance on the left side appearing on the widget. So let's see how we can fix this. So let's look at our widget. I'm gonna choose the menu that we decided to animate. Select only this menu and see if I can push it back to start at 0 and hit compile. So it seems like when we set it out on 0, came back on the same position, the start position. So I'm gonna put it back again on its -400 and choose it first. Okay, so this is gonna be -400, and select again this one. Make sure now that this, when we compile, it will start at this position. So when we play now, when we hit spacebar, it appears. The next thing is that we're gonna press create an animation for the hide to hide the menu back again. Okay, so back to the widget, our designer. Let's click on our hide button and let's name this hide. And inside the graph, let's drag this a little bit here. Select the animation and Control W here. So I need my hide button. Unclicked. We click on the hide button. We need to play the animation, but on the other direction, on a reverse direction of the animation. So let's compile and let's say play and see. So if we hit spacebar, the menu appears, and if we hit hide, it goes back. So again, hit the menu and hide it back again. So this is the basic idea of how to create different buttons inside your widget and assign functions for them, like the one we have done. So in the next video, we're gonna continue on creating additional functions for the other buttons that we have, that we're gonna start assigning. How we're gonna, for example, if we hit the canopy option, how the canopy options will appear. It's the same idea, but by practicing this a lot, you will understand more about how to assign functions to the widget buttons and how to create different functions inside your representation. So thank you for watching this, and see you in the next video.